Hello everyone and welcome to the Q&A response video. Today we're going to take a look at the Q&A. So the questions that we received many of questions. Very interesting questions. Okay, very interesting that we've received. We'll answer them to the best of my ability. Now we're going to start with this one. I'm going to start with the story question here. It comes from Gergely Peter. I'm just going to call you Pete, to be honest. I don't know how you say the first name, but I'm going to call you Pete. Okay, so story question. Story questions are okay. Say ask anything. So this is Malgus and the Ilum fiasco. Is the Sith Empire actually retarded? Yes, is the short answer. Here's the thing. The Sith Empire only functions as a whole because it's supposed to be the embodiment of a meritocracy, right? Okay. Only the strong deserve power, citizens work their ass off to advance in society, so Malgus reforming the Empire to the best of the best, regardless of their species, a bad thing. It's not. It's a good idea that Malgus had. Malgus, you can kind of admire Malgus as a character. He had the right idea. It was sad that we kind of had to stop him, almost, as the Empire, because having the option to join him would have been quite nice, because, you know, you do get that in the dialogue with him. It's like when you go through the False Emperor Flashpoint, he does say, one of you has decided to join me if you don't do it solo, that is. One of you's decided, I'm not selling who. It's like, yeah, I'll join you. It'd be good if you could join him, actually. That'd be kind of cool. He did have a good idea, you know. The Empire the Empire was losing at that point because they lost the Battle of Corellia, didn't they? Because the Republic unite to fight the Empire, and you know, when you get to Corellia as an Empire player, you're fighting other Empire, you know, you're fighting a war, Imperial agent, you're fighting against, you know, the new Imperial intelligence, you're fighting against what, how are you fighting against, what's his name again? I can't remember his name. The guy in the Inquisitor story that you fight at the end, that guy, you fight against Darth Barris, you never forget Barris, he was awesome. Barris, you know, he spent most of his time in the intergalactic KFC. That's where he spent most of his time. Darth Barris there. Does the dark side make you put on weight? You know, maybe that's an issue. But anyway, so yeah, you kill the guy. We kill the guy that builds a stealth armada, convinces boss mystics to join, and organizes an elite army virtually out of nowhere. Doesn't that remind you of something else? Doesn't that remind you of Shadow of Revan, where they basically cut Malgus and pasted it with Revan, didn't they? It's basically the same story, only they managed to drag that out over a whole expansion, really. That's how I feel about that story. I like the Ilum story. Personally, I like the two flashpoints. I like Battle of Ilum and False Emperor. I thought they were good story-wise. They're really good story flashpoints. I would say Revan accomplished the same thing, only Revan went a step further than Malgus. Revan managed to convince Republic and Empire to work together. In a way, what Revan achieved in Shadow, or tried to achieve at least in Shadow of Revan, was a kind of continuation of this kind of thing. And I would have liked to have seen Malgus given another crack at it. He was in a cutscene at one of the Cantina tours. There was a cutscene with Malgus and Valkorion. He was going up the... I don't know if it was Malgus. Someone was in Carbonite. I don't know if it was Malgus that was in Carbonite, but Malgus was in the cutscene at least. It was a long time ago. I don't know if there's footage of it on YouTube. I think there is, but it's like shot off screen on a phone or something like that. But Malgus will be in Knights of the Fallen Empire, so it's interesting. Yeah, I think that and Shadow of Revan pretty similar. What I would have loved to have seen, how Shadow of Revan should have ended, was with Revan winning. Yeah, let's have Revan win. And then Revan wins, destroys the Republic, destroys the leadership of the Republic, destroys the leadership of the Empire, kills Darth Maul. Sorry, you know, Vitiate kills him, so, you know, what more do you want? He dies later in a later expansion. Spoiler alert if you've not played it. I should point that out. Spoiler. It's not much of a spoiler, to be honest, anymore, because you know, Knights of the Fallen Empire. It's been out since October. It's your own fault if you haven't seen it. Why are you watching my video if you haven't seen Knights of the Fallen Empire? But anyway, destroys, you know, Mar, Sutil, Suresh, get rid of all of them, unites the galaxy under Revan, get rid of the factions. It's a good gameplay excuse to get rid of the factions. We're all united under Revan, and then when we have Knights of the Fallen Empire, we could keep Valkorion on the throne, and we could have Revan's war against Vitiate. That's our excuse for going to Zakul. Maybe Revan, maybe we lose the war with Vitiate, maybe we win the war. But I'd be the more engaging thing to have Revan and Vitiate, and you'd be using Revan beyond this expansion. I'd love to have seen Revan win, actually. I think it would have been a great excuse to get rid of the two factions. Republic and Empire united under Revan, and that's how the Old Republic, it would be a good end for the Old Republic era, really. And eventually what happens is, of course, the Republic and Empire, they kind of just get absorbed into each other. You could have another war down the line. You can get rid of the Sith as well. Sith and the Jedi, of course, can't keep the peace with each other. And then you could do that as a story point down the line to see how, you know, because obviously what happens is, you know, what happens, I don't know, canon-wise, it's not canon anymore, really, so who cares what happens now. But yeah, I mean, you see the Empire get absorbed into the Republic. Obviously, the Sith portion does not, because obviously the Sith are still, maybe have a Sith Uprising expansion as well. Maybe bring back Darth Malgus for a Sith Uprising expansion. That would be quite interesting as well, I think, to see something like that go ahead. But the way Shadow of Revan played out was really disappointing. The way Illum played out as well was, again, really disappointing, because these were good characters. We were the bad guys as the Empire. We were, you know, keeping the status quo, keeping everything as the same. And, you know, and look what happened. You know, Malgus doesn't succeed. And, you know, Revan doesn't succeed. And look what happens when we fight the Eternal Empire. We lose. You know, the Empire lost, and the Republic, you know, too busy fighting each other. Too busy letting, you know, maybe better people rule. I know a lot of people like Darth Maul, and he is a popular character, and I like him as well, but, you know, what if Revan had won? What if he had won? What if he had won? Okay. We'll move on to question 2. Hope that was a satisfactory answer for you. I like that question. That's the best question, and that question wins the prize. The prize will be, I don't know yet, but get in touch. Send me a message with a character name, server name, and faction, and I'll send you something. I'll send you something. Don't know what it is yet, but I'm going to send you something, okay? As soon as I figure it out. That was the best question, okay? Darth Sidious asks, how come you never play Star Wars Battlefront on stream? Because it's a piece of shit, that's why. Well, I hate Battlefront. I did recently buy it again, though, so we're doing a Battlefront video. We'll be doing it on the cheap PC. We're doing it on our Dream Machine. So there'll be another Battlefront video, but we never play it on stream because I hate it. That's the short answer. It's a terrible thing. We've got Zelf. Okay, I don't know as that says, if I've said it right. Apologies if I've said it wrong. If a bear and a shark would fight, who would win? It's a good question. Can you really have a fair fight between a bear and a shark? Let's think about this. Because where do you have this fight? Because if you have it in the water, the shark gonna win. Okay, no doubt. Bears are good swimmers, but the water is the shark's domain. Okay, the shark's gonna win that fight. 9 times out of 10, shark's gonna win. If you have it on land, same thing. The bear's gonna win, probably. Shark ain't gonna last too long on land. That's the bear's domain. So where do you have? How could you have a fair fight between a bear and a shark? You got to think about the mechanics of that fight there. It's a good question. I liked it. It was a mechanical question that I was thinking about. It's an inherently unfair fight. It depends where you have it. If you have it in the water, shark wins. If you have it on land, the bear wins. If you have it in space, neither of them win. Okay, there you go. That's my answer. Unless you could create some sort of even hybrid water land-based hybrid thing where they could both fight as equals. I don't know. I don't know. So we got Swotor Spaz next up. How would you consider yourself as a player? Hardcore, casual, etc. Also, would you consider yourself an elitist or have been considered an elitist? Question, do you think I am an elitist? And another question, what makes an elitist? I would consider myself pretty casual these days. I'm not a hardcore player, to be honest. Was I a hardcore player in the past? Yes. I mean, I don't do Nightmare. There's a question there about Nightmare later on that we'll answer. But I consider myself pretty casual. I mean, I do hard modes. I do EV, I farm the shit out of EV. Interestingly, the video footage that you're looking at in the background of this video is our many wipes on Torque. So you can have a look and you can answer that question whether you're casual or hardcore. I would say I was casual. As for an elitist, it depends what you mean. I do get annoyed when people don't follow proper fight mechanics, okay? Does that make me an elitist? I don't know. If it does, then I'm an elitist, okay? Okay, I'll admit that, fine. But I like things to be done properly. I don't like it when I see people going around, you know, see DPS wearing tank gear or healers with accuracy. I don't like to see that. I'm not one of those people. I had a Scum and Villainy run, and there was a guy inspecting everybody's gear and just telling people what they had done wrong. Like, he was telling the commando healer that we had, he had too much alacrity. Scum and Villainy HM run. And what he said was that this commando healer, he said, you've got way too much alacrity, you don't have the set bonus, and it's annoying people like, you don't have the set bonus, you only have the 4-piece set bonus, things like that. I don't do that as a player. I do inspect other players and have done on stream, but I don't comment it to them unless someone asks you something. I think that's maybe the difference. I don't go and say, oh, you remember the stream we did when we had the tank, quotation marks, that had mostly DPS gear on. I don't do that. I mean, I do notice things. I do notice people doing things. I make mistakes occasionally as well. I admit when I make mistakes as well. And I can see what I did wrong. You know, I know that. But I don't know. Does that make you an elitist? I think being an elitist is calling people out on it. I don't generally do that. We do it on streams, I guess. We kind of call them out on it, but I don't whisper them in game or shout at them in general chat or anything like that. I did have a few people do that. I've seen a few people going down that route, and I'm not that kind of person. I don't really go for that. If someone asks me for advice, then I'll give them it. If someone asks me, you know, people have asked me, and we've done videos on that. You know, we've done videos in the past where, you know, people ask you a question and I will answer it. You know, what is the accuracy cap, things like that. I'm happy to sit and answer that. I'm happy to explain it. The elitist just tells you, you're wrong, do this is right. Generally, I don't do that. I offer you my opinion and what I think is best. Maybe I'm wrong sometimes, maybe I'm not, you know, but, you know, I tend to offer my opinion. We've got X-Zone, X1, I call it X-Zone, X-Own, I nearly called you the X1 specials. X1, Xbox One, okay. In your opinion, what is the hardest thing to complete in SWTOR, if any? The Datacron Master. For me is, I can't fucking stand platforming in this game. Datacron Master, for me, to be honest. I don't like really grinding for things. You could argue the HK51 quest is a bit annoying as well, but it's not really that hard. I would say, yeah, I'd say the Datacron Master. That macabre endurance Datacron, no, I'm never doing it. I'm not doing it. I saw a video of it, I was like, no, not gonna do it. It was worse when you had to do it on all your alts. That and the bridge boss in Scum and Villainy. Okay, that needs nerfed. Okay, someone fix that now. You think they would get, you know, some Darvana's engineers to come and fix it? After we kill Styrak, and you know, the instance is free, so someone could come in and fix it. Nerf that, okay? Nerf that, okay? I have no idea. I'm not even gonna attempt to say your name, to be honest. I'll show it up on the screen, but I'm not even going to attempt to say it. I'm not even going to attempt to say it, unfortunately, because I will fuck it up. I will fuck that up. Okay, so 2 questions. Do you think SWTOR will ever have flying mounts? There's also another question for that as well, so we'll just answer that as the same thing. It might do. I would say that if we do have flying mounts, it'll only be in a specific area that's been designed for flying mounts. The problem with flying mounts is you'd have to redesign a lot of the areas to incorporate them, because there's things that are where there's textures missing, you know, things like that. You'd have to redesign that, and you'd have to fill in all the gaps, and it would be a lot of work, and BioWare don't like to do work on this game. So if they ever introduce flying mounts, it would be in a specific zone or a specific planet or a specific area. That's what it'll be. You'll be limited in that. So they could introduce flying mounts, but I don't think in the general game, no. As well, we talked about the datacrons and the platforming. It would kind of invalidate all of that. So that would be an issue, really, is you know, clipping issues, world issues, and datacrons would be the issue preventing that. And question 2 is, what is my favorite moments about SWTOR or any game? Ooh, favorite SWTOR moment. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. I like the first SOA kill we ever did in HM. I thought was pretty good. And back in vanilla was pretty good because it took us a while to get there, you know. And our first SOA nightmare kill came 3 weeks after that as well, so that was pretty good. I remember getting dropped though from the nightmare one. That wasn't my favorite, but getting the SOA HM kill on your merc in a guild was pretty special, actually. And doing your first operation was pretty cool as well. It was EV, obviously, doing that as a sentinel, weirdly enough, and getting killed on Garge. Of course I died. Of course I died. I died on Garge. I got pounced, or whatever. What's the other one? Frenzy. That's the other one. Got Frenzy killed by Frenzy back in the day. Back in vanilla, making an assassin was a good moment. And you know, doing world. I did my assassin. I did a lot of world bosses, and there were some fun times back when this was a multiplayer game. I've got a ton of screenshots, really. About, you know, with the world boss kills that we did, killing a lot of world bosses, getting a 24-man raid together and going and killing a world boss. That was awesome. That was pretty awesome. And then fighting the Republic for the Quesh one, doing the one on Quesh, and we had to fight with the Republic for it. You know, we had a big world PvP one. That was a good memory as well of SWTOR. That was when I was leveling my Merc healer. And imagine that didn't go well for me as a Merc healer back then. Okay, so the next question is Fizzad. I'm gonna call you Fizzad. Fizzad. I don't know. Should you have 204 PvP set bonus, armorings only in your 220 gear? Also, should it be 2 for 6-piece set? Okay. Do you want the elitist answer to that? The elitist answer is no scrub, get 220 gear. Do you want my answer to it? It depends what content you're going to do. If you're going to do HM Ops with 204 gear, I would try and avoid it if possible. If you're going to go with 204, belt and bracers are fairly cheap and easy to get in PvP, and you get the 2-piece set bonus. So I would go with 2. For that. If you're doing story mode ops, then you can take the 6 if you want. You don't really need the 220 gear. You don't really need the 220 mods or enhancements because you get bolstered. So if you're doing bolstered content, yeah, go for it. PvP set bonus is fine. It's going to be more of an advantage than the 220 com gear, to be honest, in hard mode flashpoints. For HM ops, other than EV or KP, I would suggest no. Go with 2 pieces if you can. You know, I've got 2 plus relic. Relics are alright as well. Although you can get the 212 crafted ones when they were introduced. I would recommend them now. But yeah, I would go with the if you have to get two of them, belt and bracers, because they're the cheapest things to buy for the 204 gear. But I wouldn't want to do HM ops. You can have two of them, I would say, and then the rest of them you're gonna lose a lot. The problem is you're gonna lose a lot of endurance and a lot of mastery, and a lot of those later hard mode ops, other than EV or KP, which to be honest could be done in 192 gear. Most of them, the bosses kind of hit a lot harder, you know, so you're gonna want to survive things. If you're a tank, hell no. Okay, you want some endurance at least. At least augment them for endurance. At least put, you know, overkill augments or something in them to make up for the endurance loss that you'll be getting. If you're a tank, I would suggest. But in the end, things hit really hard in the later hard modes, so you want the endurance, you want the mastery as well to survive. The mastery gives you extra crit as well, and of course gives you extra base damage. Right, well, this video's gone 20 minutes now, so what we'll do is we'll call this part 1 and we'll do part 2 right after we do this video. Okay, so I'll do part 2 and we'll get that uploaded at a later date, probably the day after we upload part 1. So anyway, that is all for this video for now. We'll join me in part 2 and we'll see you again soon, and goodbye.